You've got Port Pirie City. What are you going to come up with for this week? How are you going to tackle them? Because they've lost their first two games.
Yeah, you've got to be wary of that, that they've lost two games. But, in saying that, if we're really a genuine contender of getting promoted this year, it has to be 3 points, simple as that. They've caused us a few problems last year. We failed to beat Port Pirie, so they're a bit of a bogey team. But I've got Vince Gamitzi coming back this week from 2 weeks suspension. He served from last year, so I've got a couple other senior players coming back from injury. So all goes well, and I think would be fair to say we're a little bit disappointed last week in dropping the points with Sassy, so we got the opportunity this week with Port Pirie to bounce back and get the deserved 3 points.
Well, we wish you all the best with that one, Ange, and hope you are able to pick up the 3 points and keep yourself right up there at the top of the table. On this note, we're going to say goodbye to both you and Adriano. Look, I really do thank you for your time to coming into Full On Football and being able to join us for the very first time. We wish you all the best in your quest to get promoted this year, and hope that you remain injury-free or relatively injury-free and are able to do that. And once again, thank you very much for your support.
Thanks, Nat, and thanks Full On Football.
And Adriano, you've started brilliantly. As you said, you've got all options open at the moment. I hope that this contract comes through with you, because you really should be playing A-League. You're a cut above the rest, and I hope that comes through for you. If it doesn't, we'll be happy to have you here and watch you here. And again, thank you very much for not only the support for Full On Football by yourself and the club, but your own personal support for me. I do really appreciate it.
No problems, Nat. It's great to come on board and come out and be on the show. It's one of the only shows it is the only show that's running, and it should not stop at all, and should continue running, because it's promoting the local soccer, and you do an excellent job at it. So congratulations to yourself.
Thank you very much, and thanks again for coming on, guys. And we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and speak some women's football with Victoria Bellarmino. So please stick with us. Welcome back to Full On Football, and we've got now just Dougie here with me, and of course our very next special guest. She's a young woman who's really making her way in football at the moment. She's been part of the Young Matildas, and now she's going to be part of the Matildas camp that's going to be taking place, actually leaving next week. We welcome to Full On Football for the very first time Victoria Bellarmino.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, look, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, look, I do know a little bit about your playing career, but I'd like you to tell our viewers out there a brief snapshot of Victoria Bellarmino and your football history.
Well, I got into football through my dad and my family. Football has been ingrained into my family since I was a young kid. I used to go out to watch West Adelaide, now that they've come back. Yep, when they were back in the day in the old NSL, they used to play, and I used to go out and watch. And I just had a passion for it, and at home I'd play, I'd kick the ball by myself. At school, recess and lunch, I'd be playing with the boys. And so I then joined West Adelaide as a kid, went over to Adelaide City, and then got picked up by Sassy in the young sensation, like your daughter is.
Yeah, that's right.
And from there moved up to Sassy. I've been there for 5 years now, and then I was fortunate enough to go to the past 2 Young Matilda campaigns. And then now I'm in the Matildas, training with them.
Now, look, you went away to China for the 2007 AFC Under-19 Women's Championships, and you did very, very well there as well.
Yeah, we didn't actually qualify, but we had a young team, and a lot of those girls in the Young Matildas again, and they'll be able to go to the next World Cup. But for the players that we had and the limited amount of time we had to train, we did match it with the likes of Japan and North Korea, but we were unfortunate to not qualify.
There was a bit of a controversy there when you played North Korea, wasn't it? A late penalty?
Yeah, well,
about 7 minutes out?
Don't want to go into it, but there was a lot of, the coach actually ran onto the pitch and threatened the referee with a decision. The referee changed her decision because of that. And they scored a penalty, and then, yeah.
That basically...
it turned the game around.
It did. And that meant that you were bowing out from being able to qualify, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we had to wait a few days because FFA put in lodged a an appeal, but that fell through, and yeah, that's why we didn't qualify.
Well, we'll get off of that subject at the moment. Look, I'm very interested in some of the people that you play with. Now, I've been really impressed, not only by yourself, because it's very difficult for South Australians to crack this market. I mean, they're always looking at the eastern side clubs and teams and states, and you would attest to that as well, Doug. I mean, it's hard for our own guys to get in anyway, whether it's referees or players.
Yeah, I think it becomes a bit of a logistics thing with the FFA sometimes, and there's lots of players, like even growing up in the national teams, there's players left out here in South Australia for the one reason, that's logistics. I'm convinced of it. So, you know, the quality that we're producing though in South Australia, it can't be ignored.
And let me tell you, I've been watching women's games now probably for about 5 to 7 years now, and there is some real talent out there. Now, yourself included in that, and I will include you in that. Also, what was it like to play? Another player I was really impressed with is Servette Uzunla. Now, she seems to be such a dynamic player.
She is, and she's thrived. She lived in Brazil for about a year, so she was playing futsal over there with the boys as well. So she came back, and yeah, she's really sharp on the ball, and really she has that game sense that you pick up when you play futsal, and the ball skills and stuff. But yeah.
Now, you're going away to this 3-day camp with the Matildas. I mean, that's fantastic in itself that you're in that initial squad. What do you do? What do you think you're going to have to do to make sure that you make the cut?
Well, definitely now that I'm playing with the Sassy Boys, I've been training with the Sassy Boys for the past year, and recently FFSA granted me playing pass to play with the boys, and I think that's definitely the most crucial thing in my development as a Matilda, to play with the boys and against the boys in SA, and then when I go to camps I'll just need to put all my efforts into that and to make the Matilda squad. Yeah.
Now, when we had Chi May on the show a couple of years ago, I asked her this question. I'm going to ask you that same question. Playing in with the boys team, in a boys team, up against, well, men, what's it like for you when you're getting into challenges? For me, it doesn't seem like it matters. You're playing your football and you're showing what you're made of.
I don't think when you're playing the game, I don't think you think about the challenges, and like, I think the boys are thinking about it at the moment. I haven't copped a real bad hit yet. I think they've pulled out of it, but yeah, I'm not fazed by it. I expect it, and just, yeah, I hope I don't get any injuries.
Now, you're following in the footsteps of quite a few South Australians that have gone over and been part of the Matildas, and none more so than Di Alligatt would have to be the highest profile. We've got a few others like Sharon Black as well. I mean, she's just an amazing woman. Goes away for 10 years, comes back and wins Player of the Year last year, and that's just unbelievable. But talking about that, going away, going overseas, is that in your plans? Is that something that you want to do, or where are you at the moment?
Well, I have been offered a scholarship to go to an American university in Florida. My friend is there at the moment, but at the moment it's not feasible for me because I am studying a physiotherapy degree here in Adelaide, and I'm under the national team coach's eyes. If I go overseas, it'll be more difficult to break into the national team, and I won't be able to study my degree. So for the time being, I'll stay in Adelaide, train with the boys, play in the boys league. Hopefully that will get me into the Matildas, and maybe perhaps when I finish my degree and I'm in the Matildas, I'll go over just to experience what it's like overseas. And yeah.
Now, you would have been part of the Women's National League that was around, I think the last time they played was 2004, if I remember rightly. And that was, we were talking about that earlier, we got to see all the teams from basically almost all of Australia coming over, playing at the Martin Stadium. We don't have that anymore. You went away and you played tournaments. They played a whole league in 10 days. That was their tournament, and that was basically the Women's League. Do you think we're ever going to see a Women's League come back into the competition?
There are talks that there will be a Women's National League, but at the moment I'm not sure. I hope there is. We had a taste of it. A few of us young Matildas and Matilda players, we played as the female version of some of the A-League clubs. I played with and for the Newcastle Jets. We had a few just opening games, and that was awesome just just to relive what it was like playing National League and being in a professional team and in a professional competition. So yeah, definitely I hope that there is a Women's National League and that it is fair and it's competitive and people get on board when it does come out.
Well, I hope so too. Now, if anybody out there wants to see any women's competition, and Dougie, this could be any of the boys at the Comets, they might want to come out and see some of these women play.
Some of them would, no?
Well, we've got a perfect opportunity here, and that is, of course, the Adelaide Airport Charity Gala Day, which is on Sunday, the 30th of March, this Sunday. It's women's football action all day. So, boys, look, here is the opportunity to come and watch some of this. We've got the Saucer Under-12 Development Squad starting off early in the day. I think that's about 11 o'clock. Celebrity match, which is the Adelaide United players, partners and female staff up against media and sports celebrities. That's at 1:15 kicking off.